Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to the CC News Media On Point. Now, today's topic is "Make America Great Again?" Question mark. Or "Keep America Great." But the real question, the question of the day is, was America ever great? And then you want to split that up. You want to say, was America ever great for Black people? Then you want to go further and say, who was America great for? And how is it that Donald Trump feels that rhetoric, that terminology is something that can win him votes in the Black community? And how did it win him votes in the Black community?
Because it did win him a lot of votes.
Exactly.
And I'd like to figure out why it did. I mean, I'd like to talk to some of those people that voted for him.
Well,
just to find out
I don't know if you remember last year or maybe the year before, there was a young lady on the show. And she was a Trump supporter. She really did support him. And she was ride or die behind him. But it was on the basis of false information that she had, because Donald Trump give his own facts. The statistics that he provides are not true, but they're his. Because guess what? The people that he's done what they call a cult of personality, in which you, first of all, here's the first idea that you want to instill in any cult: everybody but me is wrong.
That's right.
That's the first thing you tell them. Nothing else can be right but me.
In order to make America great and glorious again, I am tonight announcing my candidacy for President of the United States. Thank you, kids. Thank you. All of you. Thank you. Thank you. So many incredible friends and family here tonight. It's such a beautiful thing. Some people say, how do you speak before so many people all the time? When there's love in the room, it's really easy, if you want to know the truth. It really is. You ought to try it sometime. Together, we will be taking on the most corrupt forces and entrenched interests imaginable. Our country is in a horrible state. We're in grave trouble. This is not a task for a politician or a conventional candidate. This is a task for a great movement that embodies the courage, confidence, and the spirit of the American people. This is a movement. This is not for any one individual. This is a job for tens of millions of proud people working together from all across the land and from all walks of life, young and old, Black and white, Hispanic and Asian, many of whom we have brought together for the very, very first time. If you look at the numbers, if you look at what's happened with Hispanic, with African American, with Asian, and just look at what's happening. This is a party that has become much bigger, much stronger, much more powerful, can do much more good for our country. This is a job for grandmothers and construction workers, firefighters, builders, teachers, doctors, and farmers who cannot stay quiet any longer. You can't stay quiet any longer. You're angry about what's happening to our country. Our country is being destroyed before your very eyes. It's a job for every aspiring young person and every hard-working parent, for every entrepreneur and underappreciated police officer who is ready to shout for safety in America. The police are being treated so badly. These are great people. They can straighten out the crime. They're the ones that know how to do it. We have to give them back their respect and their dignity.
There is nothing else that you can say or do that will be correct and on the right path unless I have told you to do it.
Now, you know, that's some deep information right
Where
there.
you get that idea from, though, is a demented and twisted spin on culture. You know, cult, the root word of culture is cult.
Mm-hmm.
A genuine, a similar, a mutual agreement or belief or practice in one way or another, right? Now, many people, the cults that they founded have been a spinoff of Christianity or something like that, some crazy stuff. You get, I hate to say it on here, but I know a few people who are part of his church, Universal House of Prayer for All People, called UHOP. Messed up people, messed up. Anyway, but Donald Trump kind of embraced what they did.
Wow.
If I tell you it's wrong, if I say it's wrong, it's wrong. You don't even need the question. If it didn't come out of my mouth, it's wrong. Even if my kids tell you it's wrong, because his kids called him out, it's wrong. Then you start to feed them false information. You start to say, well, this is how it was, and that if it's not how I said it was, they lie. That's where you get fake news. He said that coronavirus, which he knew because he invested in the vaccine, number one. He knew it was real, but he knew that here, how do you guide your sheepish people towards your agenda? You let them believe what will make you money. Even most recently, and I'm gonna be quiet, Donald Trump had strung people along to make them think that he would run for president in 2024, correct?
Yes.
He let them think that. On his website, he collected donations under the guise of them being campaign donations. Donald Trump does not have to classify those donations as campaign donations because he never officially announced or filed to run for president in 2024. He does not have to spend that money on his campaign because those are donations right into his pocket.
Oh, wow.
But how did he do that? Because he let them think he was running for president. He knew he wasn't going to run for president. Then, I'm sorry, I got to add this one. We just talked about this yesterday. He said on Tuesday he'd be arrested, right? He said that on his social media platform, Truth Media. He said he'd be arrested, or Truth Social, that he would be arrested on yesterday. He wasn't arrested yesterday, but he'd be arrested. And so the final words of that post were protest, protest, protest. Now, when Donald Trump say protest, we know what that means. That means January 6, 2021 over again. Because when he said this, guess what? In the same court that they were holding his trial, where they were going to hold his trial, bomb threat the same day. Because he knows he's a very rhetorical and semantic individual who understands what his words mean and how they affect and impact the people that follow him. And so when that stuff happens and when he says those things, he basically is giving them the ammunition and the call and the zeal they need. They're zealous, but they're not zealous in the right way. They're zealous. Zealous typically means that you have zeal for God. No, they have zeal for Trump. He will start a new religion. I promise you have 70 million adherents within a year.
Hey, come on now. You've said a lot, and man, you just come from so many perspectives, and I'm sure that Karen, what say you about some of the assertions that we just heard TJ make?
Everything that TJ has said is correct. And he's saying it in such a powerful position for him to be speaking this kind of truth, because it is their job now. I mean, we didn't transfer you know, it doesn't matter what we didn't do now. We are the platform for him. You
Yes.
know, we're doing this and having him speak because
Yes.
he is laying out the agenda.
Yes.
Um, I was at Chicago Teachers Union
Okay.
yesterday. They're teaching the Holocaust, methods of teaching the Holocaust. Uh,
Really?
oh yeah, and of course I'm the only Black person in there, and I'm one of the oldest, of course. But there's two older people in there, myself and an older Jewish woman, and most of those people who are in that chorus are people who are descendants of the Jewish community who
Okay.
feel that, you know, so it's through the things that TJ is talking about regarding communication, how he grabbed that culture. Those people, January 6th, that's a bad school system. Those because those people don't understand the United States government. They don't understand how serious. That's those are the real gangsters, you know. So you
Mm-hmm.
gonna took on their house. I mean, and so they make everything. I mean, it's I don't even want to say the word they, but you know, just listening to young people, that's I mean, because it's not our voices anymore that
Right.
really matter. I know that I deal with so much invisibility as an older Black person. I never paid that any attention, you know, but they don't. It's like the senior citizens don't count. But Wanda, I am so proud and thankful that you keep us going because we have to have that platform that they're standing on because he's already in it.
Yes.
Information
Yes.
out there, and we'll have more. If you want more young people, I'm talking to them like, you know, in every day when you can engage.
I want more young people because
when,
they're
but when
gonna
you can,
run this world.
but you have to be able to engage now. You have to be
Yes, you
because you
do. You
can't
have to
be
be
their
able to attract
platform,
them. They don't even want to
their
talk.
pla- their platform because we're not engaging. See, we
Yes.
want he's this guy is a he TJ is um he's a researcher.
Yes,
And
he
that's
is.
what I have the Paul Laverne Smith Institute for Cultural Development, which is a research engine. Like all of the information, my historical pieces, I put it there. And Hagar is another movement, which is the person that's doing the research. But he's a research person. The young woman, I don't want to call out any names, but I've listened to has a television show, and God knows I love her. She's a Trump supporter. She calls him my Donnie. Da 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 da. And so I'm sitting here trying to figure out. Wait a minute, this baby from the West Side. How did this happen? You know, but now I do understand. You know, it's not her. It is what we didn't do. And
Mhm.
because we don't want to admit that we are the system, we want to pretend somebody else is the system. Nope. You know, we've been in the state of Illinois for a long time.
A
And
long time.
yes, America has, but we got too many rich Black folks. Black folks been living good for a long time. So when we want to pretend like America has been so terrible for us, maybe we're not being honest. You know, we're not looking at our own personal history. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, we do have some that get rich and then they get gone. You know, they go where they,
Well, you know, when you
I
when you
don't
get
know.
people like that, and I told my grandmother she's gonna hear about this specific city, it's Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and a guy from Baton Rouge, and this is just a segue into the Make America Great Again part, but even how you can do that in your own neighborhoods. They say when Black people get rich, they do one thing, and
Mm.
it's just common. They move out of the neighborhood they grew up in.
Yeah.
Does not help the neighborhood they grew up in because you go and put your money now into a neighborhood that has predominantly white people and minority, very small, very slim, very minute minority Black people. So if we're trying to better our own situations, although America is systemically holding you down, they
Yeah.
say stuff about the boots. What boots? We don't have any boots, but uh,
Oh boy, I love him.
uh, you have these opportunities to help Black people, but we have to understand where we get these ideas from, right? Let me tell you. Number one, how many Black people are designing the curriculum in the public school system?
Come talk now. Yeah, now you
Number
finna
two,
talk.
how many Black teachers are teaching in all Black public schools?
Ooh, come on.
Number three,
Speak.
what is the requirement of Black history in those schools? At one point, my band director tells me this because he went to the same school I go to now. But he said when he was going to King, 45th and Drexel, every restaurant, every store, every establishment owned in that neighborhood was owned by somebody who was Black and lived in that neighborhood. Now you get people who don't live in that neighborhood who shut down that restaurant, that store, they close it for the night and take that money to somebody's suburb. So it's a matter of simply identifying where the influences come from in America. The influence in America is not coming from the Black household. It's coming from the mainstream media, to whom is controlled specifically by white individuals. When you get rap music, the record executives by and large are white, or specifically in a lot of times Jewish men. So where you see this is the influence. What they say is hot is what's hot. What they say will make it will make it. What
That's
they
right.
say to be popular is going to be popular.
That's
and
right.
Like we have a choice, because they're going to promote it so often that we have no choice. We like it by oversaturation. I know that sounds actually crazy, but it's
No,
true.
but that's the truth.
You
It
like
is.
it by how often you're exposed to it.
That's right.
Unless there is ethical, there's ethical language in their music, because Wanda, no, we didn't come up with just Black music, not in Chicago,
That's
not on
right.
the West Side. I mean, we listened to the Beatles, we listened to John Lennon, where they shot him because he was too powerful. You can't talk too much about peace. What it is the negative sales. But you are so God, you are, you make it, it's why we say, okay, I'm just glad we're here.
Yes.
Just behold the future, because the work that we've done, it was not for nothing, because it happened through integration, miscegenation, assimilation. Then there's annihilation. And if whatever group that does not know who they are by identity, then that group is annihilated.
That's right.
If I assimilate into a white community, then I'm only going to think in terms of white values. I
That's
won't know
right.
I won't know.
And that's what happened to us as a people. We were dispersed.
I like that idea, because I actually do. I'm really thankful that TikTok is a thing. I am, because even though they say that there are the negative effects of TikTok, but there are some positive sides, because you get to experience or get to see the experiences that a lot of people have that you otherwise wouldn't understand or won't be able to see in a very everyday world. And there was this one guy. He's black as can be. Me and him same skin tone. And I'm not very light skinned. So he was saying that his daughter is half white, half black. We understand what that means. That means you're 50% black, 50% white. Your mom is black. Your mom is white, dad's black. That's simple. It's America. It's possible. He goes to say, my daughter is 100, or my children, because this is not his only child. My children are 100% white and 100% black and 100% American. Well, let me stop you there, sir. That's not how math is. And it's a very flawed idea. And I want to try to tie this back to the whole "Make America Great Again" thing, because he is a Republican. And we have to separate Christianity from republicanism. We have to separate success.
No, we got to get Christianity out of our public conversations, because that is complete. You know how many Christians there are? Most people don't know that Catholics are Christians,
That is
Methodists,
true.
Libertarians. I mean, we so many different Christians. I mean, the Nazis are Christians.
Yeah.
KKK, they're Christians now. Everybody using that same Bible. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You said a
Where
mouthful, mister.
we have to stop and we have to separate this. Donald Trump, and I want to talk because if a lot of you won't be able to see it, but unto one I know you will. You do sometimes. When I'm talking to my grandmother and we have these long, extensive conversations, and one of the conversations, the topics that's popped up every time when we talk about Donald Trump and how Christians so valiantly follow him is that he said that he took a picture. He literally smoke bombed people from in front of a church to take a picture in front of the church and leave. That's what he did. I'm not making this up. This happened.
With a Bible right there on television. Mm-hmm.
This happened during the George Floyd things when they killed George Floyd. This is what he did. And black people, number one, still followed him. He said, "This is my black." He said, "This is my black." He said that, talking about a black dude who supported him. The one black person out of the crowd of 1 trillion white people. This is my black person. This is what he said. But we follow him because we associate so closely Republicanism with Christianity and democracy, the Democratic Party with heresy. Well, no, because if you knew anything about God, right, you would know that God is not a God who is exclusive. That was the point. The point was to get rid of this exclusive religion and to bring in this inclusive religion. We're not trying to promote exclusivity, but we're trying to promote inclusivity, and you're trying to get everybody together on one accord. You cannot.
Well, see, he preaching now. He teaching.
The one accord would be theology as opposed to religion. We got every church open. If they got a different leader, you got a different religion.
Yes, sir.
You know, you got a different religion, but theology is good orderly direction that falls into what you're saying in regards to one God, one Lord, one baptism. So it don't matter what your faith tradition is, we shouldn't be killing each other.
No. Yeah. How do you justify that? How do you justify?
Well, here's how they justify it. They spin it because there are times in the Bible where it tells you to kill somebody, right? But it's merely, and people don't get this part. The Bible tells you this for you to know what the possible ramifications of your actions are, not charging the people to actually do what they said to do when you do that. When they say an eye for an eye, that does not mean that when somebody does something to somebody, you go and do something to somebody else. No, it's supposed to deter you from doing something to somebody because they would be justified in doing the same to you.
And that's how slavery was justified. You go into, there are 66 books in the Bible. Technically, we're living in the New Testament times. Most preachers preach out of the Old Testament because that's where you can control people. Women don't have no voice in the Old. But Jesus, the Jesus movement was Jesus doing a new thing, and that comes out of a baby being born. That's why if you don't educate our children, you're not going to change nothing. You had the same plus the same plus the same. That's all by design. So it has, it was against the law for Black people to read. Absolutely. in the South. It was against the law to get married, because if you married, if a free Black man married an enslaved Black woman and she becomes pregnant, who owns the baby? So they wouldn't let no marriages go. There's as TJ is saying, there's a reason behind everything, and that reason is found in the law. But you go to a lot of these churches, we're not under the law. Oh, yes, we are.
But
Yes,
what they
we
don't,
are.
I think, and this is what I want to get at with Republicanism or being a Republican. I'm not knocking any Republicans. They can be some extreme people sometimes, especially Ron DeSantis. That man is crazy. But where we try to draw the line at is you have to get out of this, and this is God tries to promote this or promoted this in his time and in Jesus's time. Get out of this legalism, get out of this restrictive covenant and into your own natural human decency. You know what's right. You know what's acceptable. You know what is to be done. Why would you go and say, first of all, Jesus ain't never told you that to tell nobody they couldn't get no abortion. Jesus ain't never told you that. You ain't had no conversation with Jesus and he told you that. Number one, so half these Republicans don't actually believe in what they're talking about. They believe in control. And that's how you do it. Everybody wants power. If I need to get power, the largest religion in the world is Christianity.
That's right.
So many millions of people, at least 70 million people adhere to Christianity in America. So how do you control them? By turning their religion against them.
And the thing is, though, you know, like issues like abortion, the abortion law was passed in the late 60s, 70s. Here in Illinois, it took them until 1972 or 73 to pass that law because the states, they pushed back on everything, just like they did integration. The states said, no, we're not doing that. And why we need to understand religions more, because we have to live with each other. You know, people have a right to get an abortion, but then you have a right not to. You know, there's something wrong in a culture of people where, you know, if I decide to take the COVID-19 shot, somebody's gonna get mad at me. That's got to be your problem. If this is what I want to do in a democracy, I should be able to do it. I should be, if we can have a president who talk like Trump and everybody know he's silly, how come you'll restrict my speech in church? If you don't speak a certain way, you don't sing a certain way, you're not gonna sing in some of these churches now.
And here, the craziest part about everything, when you break down the true behind the scenes of America, is that number one, America was never truly great for a lot of people. For a lot of people, if you're a woman, white woman, it wasn't great for you. So, and then and this is a running thing that we have going on in my school. There is a tier system in America in which they rank who's best and to worst on a scale. White men have always put themselves at the top. We even did this experiment that white people see God how they see the most powerful or the best person in their life or people.
That's right.
God was painted to be what? A white man. That's how the people see God. If you see God in any depictions, he's a white man. Because people see a lot of times white men as the supreme being, who's superior being, who's over everybody else, who should be in control. He has white hair because he's aged. Every white person, if they have hair on their head, has white hair when they get old or gray. If you get old enough, you get white hair. But when you say make America great again, you completely discount the experiences of so many millions of people. You completely discount what people have gone through. You even discount what you have gone through, because at a time in America when your ancestors have gone through, it was not great for them. The Trumps were nothing. They came here as nothing. It was not great for them. But now that you have made it, whatever that means, because making it financially does not mean that you have made it. It just means that you have money. But if you're not in the mental state to spend that money and do what you need to do with that money, you have not made it. Donald Trump has not made it. He just has money. But making America great again is so much more to Donald Trump than it would seem to us. It's not bridging economic and racial gaps or gender gaps. It means restoring age-old legislation that widens those gaps, that makes it harder to do things for Black people and minorities and women. It means bringing back a conservative, traditional understanding and interpretation of how life should be.